Hi friends, this is Calpun Piso, January 2013. My brain is creating thoughts. Be cut. Well, it seems like in this wonderful country of ours, the United States of America, is completely crazy, ruled by Christ psychosis infected imbeciles. I still don't get it. Nobody seems to realize, including mentally healthy, in other words, atheists, that we are all product of a fuck. I mean, it's something so simple, something so true, something so real, something demonstrable in a lab. We are product of fucks. We're evolved, mutated primates. And nobody seems to watch science programs. Watch National Geographic, watch all the science programs. And you have to take some of them with a grain of salt because, of course, you have to connect the dots because a lot of them are the producers are Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles. They don't realize, they still think that Jesus Christ is a person that existed. No, it's a title. Like Moses. Moses means son of, and Ra, son God. Ramoses, Ramoses. Anyway, they don't understand that. They still believe that the Tooth Fairy is real, and Winnie the Pooh is real, and Mickey Mouse is real, and it's in all these stupid books of religion, religious text. Now ask yourself, why in this 21st century, stupid books like the Bible, and there are many of them, and the Quran, and the Talmud, and all the rest of religious text written by people under the influence of drugs, entheogens, plants and all that. I mean, it's in epigraphy. We can see that. It's right there. It's history. We can see it. It's evidence. They use these substances, and then they start seeing all these spirits, affected their brain. But why they believe the Bible and it's just like history to these imbeciles, and the Greek mythology and the Book of the Dead and the Tibetan text and the Papal Vu of the Moshika and the Mayans and the different religious expressions of ancient cultures 40,000 years ago in epigraphy. Why this Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles in control of the United States of America? Why they accept something so ridiculous and stupid and moronic like the Bible as history, and they do not accept as true a book like Winnie the Pooh or Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, with the same fairy tales, except the fairy tales have different names. I still don't understand that. Nobody sees it. And the reason is because they keep infecting everybody, all the kids, every Sunday in church, molesting their brains. Education of the United States is a sham. Is disgusting. Because everybody's infected with Christianity. And Christianity is the acceptance of a resurrected somebody that's saved with blood for the sin committed by a madman and a rib woman that he had created previously when they accepted a forbidden fruit from a talking snake. That is a psychosis. Nobody seems to realize it. Amazing.
Where the president was being held in effigy.
See?
And these kinds of threatening comments of people like the man you just had on were members of Congress from being able to go and vote.
Exactly.
You may recall of that. Yep. John Lewis were being called epithets racial epithets.
See that?
And this wasn't just isolated. This was happening both in our nation's capital and around the country.
Because they're Christians.
It had a devolved
racist
of the civil discourse in our
psychotics, and you don't see it.
Or it's this issue of mental health or anything where we can't...
Mental health, yes. They're crazy people and you don't see it.
That, I think, is the more disruptive...
They're Christians. You don't understand it because you're one of them. You're a Christ-psychotic Catholic.
Threatening you.
See? Anyone that believes in a zombie God that saves with blood, in other words, Christians, have their brain up the ass and they have a neurological disorder. Psychosis. This is very interesting. Nobody pays attention to this, to the facts. Mental health. Now, we create thinking with our brains, not the ass. And what is mental health? Sanity of the brain. And it was telling from fact, between fact and fiction. Now, what is religion? What is religion composed of? What is faith composed of? Taught by your parents and society and culture. What is faith? Religion. Religion accepts bizarre metamagical beliefs to be reality. Now, in Christianity, a resurrected zombie that saved with blood for sin committed by a madman and a red woman when they accepted a fruit by from a talking snake is accepted as reality. Blood saved, you have demonic possessions and angels and spirits and demons and all that crap. That is religion. But religion, there are tons of them. All religions accept bizarre metamagical beliefs are reality. Now, let's go back to mental diseases, mental disorders, like schizophrenias. And there are many of us schizophrenias, and temporal lobe epilepsy, and trauma to the brain, and all that. What happens when somebody suffers from a mental illness? Keep in mind, what is mental illness? It's a malfunction of the brain. The brain produces thoughts. Mental illness means that the thoughts are distorted, concepts are distorted, cognitive dissonance. And schizophrenia, all temporal lobe epilepsy and mental disorders, they have a certain peculiarity. All mental disorders, problems with the brain, makes the brain, since it's damaged, accept bizarre metamagical beliefs as true. There you go. That's religion for you. Faith. You believe a resurrected zombie that's saved with blood? It's no different than you believe that space aliens put implants in your brain to monitor your thoughts. That's a schizophrenia. False beliefs. When a person is educated and accepts something very false as reality and you have a paranoia, people going after you, aliens or demons or whatever, spirits, you have a problem with your brain. That's a fact. That makes Christianity a mental disorder, which I call Christ psychosis. And this is a fact. If you believe in God, you have a problem with your brain. People, wake up. Atheists are the most stupid, blind people around. They don't understand. They don't land. They don't understand. And they are scientists and they are scholars. And come on, let's begin with the beginning. Creation. You were created when a woman sucked the dick of a man. The man got erect, got horny, fucked her, and he spit sperm, which is DNA. So guess what happened? He fertilized the egg. In the case of conception, The piece of shit Christians believe that's what the soul is. The soul, assholes, is air in the lungs. And the air doesn't come in until 9 months later, as you pieces of shit assholes are swimming in your mother's amniotic fluid, full of all these mutations, and she ejects you from her vagina, the cave of creation. And guess what happened then? That's the first time you get your soul, which is the air in the lungs, assholes. Learn history. Learn what the concept of spiritu, anima, vapor is. Learn Latin and Greek and get their stupid heads out of your ass. That includes atheists too, because they're extremely stupid and blind. They don't understand the facts. Tell it like it is, especially in Christianity infected United States of America. Crazy people stuck in the Middle Ages. Screwing up, infecting the mind of children. But see, when you get out of your mother, you have not breathed air. The placenta is feeding you, assholes. You haven't used your nose. What happened when you get out of the cunt of your mom? You are born. You breathe your fucking air. You get the spirit. That's when you get your soul, assholes. God, it's incredible, these stupid people in this country. Close all the churches down. They are the most ignorant, theotarded imbeciles in this world. We are evolved, mutated primates created by a fuck. If you start believing in God in this 21st century, you are a piece of shit, ignorant, asshole, deluded, suffering from a mental illness. And that's a fact. I don't know what words to use. Si quieres, te hablo en español. Y si entiendes, el español es un idioma diferente. Y lo cogiste por tus padres cuando naciste. Selbst in Deutschland. Die deutsche Sprache ist selbst. Deutsche Sprache o italiano. L'italiano è la misma cosa. È per tutto. È tutto il cervello. Mi piace molto. È una lingua differente. Mi piace. C'est la même langue, le français aussi. But these are languages. There are 8,000 languages spoken in this planet. And you learn it from your parents, assholes. You learn this piece of shit religious psychosis from your parents, from the culture when you're brought up. You navigate the planet with 5 senses, imbeciles. If they malfunction, you cannot connect reality. You don't see things. That means that you have a defective brain. This is the problem in the United States of America. Religious psychosis. Deal with it. That's the reason we have all the problems in the United States of America. There is no God. God is a mental illness. If you believe in God, you better go and get yourself committed to a neurological institution, a mental health clinic, so they can actually save you. It's the same like suffering from depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia with the many types, Tourette syndromes, Down syndromes, and all problems with the brain. Simple as that. Same thing.
They also have friends, clearly, as your congregation is providing much needed food and comfort.
Pero some big God.
Indeed. And
really
are recognizing
crazy people
that, where perhaps they had not had faith and they're just kind of
He's a pastor
in the community, they realize that God's doing something. And God has certainly blessed us in that way.
Bless you.
It's a big change. Thank you very much, and your congregation.
Psychotic.
And all of those strangers who are helping
some big guy sent the hurricane, didn't he?
In some areas, not anticipating that water would truly be up against the top of the levee or the top of the flood wall and putting that much
pressure. Thanks to Christianity. Stupid imbeciles. Lack of science.
After Katrina, the majority of the flooding came through in Hurricane Katrina?
Well over 20 feet of water came surging through this area.
Thanks to the Christian imbeciles.
Funneled in and rushed into the city of New Orleans.
They should have prepared like 20-some years ago.
Is drilled 190 feet into the earth.
Idiots.
Towering 20.
Well, you ask some Jesus to help you. to defend the city.
Stronger are these
morons.
That have been built around here?
That's what Christ does for you. Make people stupid and ignorant.
We have about 50 times more steel.
And Governor Jindal is a piece of shit Christian. He's an asshole.
Ends 350 miles.
Did an exorcism when he was in the university.
Walls connect, forming a circle around the city.
He shouldn't be a governor. He should be in an asylum. Jindal.
This solution.
Christ psychotic. By Christ psychosis infected imbecile.
Do you agree it was the single biggest shooting?
You should ask him what
people hit by shooting.
What house, what religion you were brought up into? What psychosis? Christian home is a racist, KKK, piece of shit imbecile.
Listen, you're just going. No, there have been bombings of walls.
That's what this guy is.
Are we going to?
Piece of shit. And the mental illness of some God believer Christianity does not discriminate. There's a professor in Florida, and he said the whole thing is a hoax. You know, he doesn't believe in all this stuff. He comes from Florida Atlantic University, which is a Christ psychotic infected university. All these people are Christian infected imbeciles. Tom Fleming was the one that founded it in the 1940s after World War II. And here we have the results. These are Christian people. They're psychotic. They're taught in Christian homes and Christian universities and all this garbage of Christianity, Christ psychosis all over. And Christ psychosis and religious psychosis are responsible for circumcision and mutilating children, abusing them, and all the crazy stuff that is happening in the world today. Ask yourself, when someone is expressing such psychosis and clueless thoughts and understanding of reality, ask yourself, is this person sane? And of course, they're not. They have conspiracy theories, they believe in imaginary friends, and bizarre mathematical beliefs as they were true. And they don't realize that the brain is creating all this thinking. They had no idea. And this is the problem. Including atheists, mentally healthy, like Dawkins and Harris and Dennett and a lot of scientists. They just talk about science or talk about some other things without exposing this Christ psychosis infected imbeciles, which are people of faith, which people of faith are nothing more than people of a psychosis, and they don't expose them. This is the problem with atheist scholars and, you know, the American Society of Atheism.
He's now trending worldwide on Twitter and has been for pretty much since the show went out, and I can't think of a better advertisement for gun control than Alex Jones's interview last night. It was terrifying in parts. It was completely deluded. It was based on a premise of making Americans so fearful that they all rush out to buy even more guns. It showed it cannot be allowed to continue. They have to be confronted and challenged, and occasionally, as with last night, I think dug himself an ever bigger hole, and the general reaction, I think, has been one of real horror that somebody with such a voice, a platform as Alex Jones, he has millions of Americans listen to his show.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's a Christ psychotic.
And he spouts this kind of dangerous
And it is
nonsense.
due to Christ psychosis, conspiracy theory, a mental illness nobody seems to see. It happens all over people that are brought up in Christian homes.
Conspiracy theories pop up, I mean, in the wake of tragedies like this.
Can you imagine this?
I mean, can't wrap their mind around something.
Fucking assholes!
Or is it just simply linked to the whole idea that these are people who believe the government's trying to take their guns?
They're Christians!
This is just
Christ psychotics!
A way that they're trying to...
The idea of random evil. They like the
evil?
idea that evil is focused in some...
Evil? You're an idiot!
People,
that's your problem!
It's, who knows, whether it's Jews, or Muslims, or Illuminati,
is it Christian crap?
Or the New World Order.
It's a psychosis! Morons!
Central address causing mass shootings. And they're strangely attracted to that idea because once they've identified...
Nothing remains secret for very long. So it's not as if the government can't keep, things that are actually classified information secret for very long. There's so many people who leak stuff. So the idea that somehow, like, the news media is in cahoots with the government and that hire crisis actors to get them there. I mean, it's just so ludicrous. Did you notice a common? I mean, was there a common strain when you were looking into these conspiracy theories regarding?
Hey, the brain creates thinking. The brain, when it malfunctions, creates all the mythological, bizarre beliefs in all the religions in the world and also in schizophrenia. Religion is a mental illness. Deal with the facts. Ask yourself, what organ am I using to create thoughts? Why do I speak English? How was I created? Was I born knowing everything and knowing about gods and imaginary friends? Was I born speaking a language, knowing about concepts, telling between fact and fiction? No. The brain, which is a product of a fuck, of coitus, and evolution, mutations. DNA proves it. Over 4 billion years. That's the creator of our thinking. We're nothing but crazy animals, crazy primates. And nobody seems to get this fact through their heads because they don't study, they don't teach science in the United States of America. That is the reason they are left behind. You have nothing but centers of ignorance and psychosis, which are churches, synagogues, and mosques. Basically, churches. And believing God is a psychopathy, especially a God that resurrected and says with blood, and this blood is sacred, and you have to suffer, and you have to do all this crap. And that is the problem. These people are back into the Middle Ages. It's a 12th century reasoning in the 21st century. And that makes Americans that believe in God theo-tarded. Theo, God, tardi, from tardus, Latin means delayed. Delayed and retarded because of God. Mental problems. If you believe in God, you're simply theo-tarded and you have a problem with your brain. That's a fact. People don't resurrect. Gods don't exist. We create it with the brain. A lobotomy will prove it correct. If you still believe in God after I give you a lobotomy, I'll give you $10,000. Okay? After a lobotomy, you'll say, Jesus who? Allah's who? Winnie the Pooh who? We're in the 21st century. The brain creates the psychosis and the beliefs in gods. A fact.
A lot of planning went into this. That was the prosecution's final witness. Of those sites, according to detectives, he posted the question, will you visit me in prison? Why did this? Emotionless, saying nothing, doing nothing, pretty much looking straight.
This intelligent man was brought up in a Christian home. There are the facts.
Increasingly, the courts are agreeing that individuals were to own their own military rifles so that if they were called to duty, they would have that to bring with them.
It was a long time ago.
Which required all able-bodied men to own
1796.
So that they would have it
imbecile.
Where they called
a Christian piece of shit imbecile.
Obama to George III.
Well, President Obama hasn't banned the importation of ball and powder yet, which George III did.
He's taking the Middle Ages. He's
taking the major contributory elements. So stressed by the loss of his...
This 200 years ago, imbecile. Buy a musket, you piece of shit. The problem is that scientists, mentally healthy atheists, don't connect believing God as a mental illness. It's very simple. Like I said, Gertrude Stein said a rose is a rose is a rose is a rose, repetition. A dog is a dog is a dog. A knot is a knot is a knot is a knot. I mean, if you have a fox terrier, you have a Labrador retriever, you have a Chihuahua, and you have, they're no different dogs. I mean, they're all wolves. They're wolves. So a person that has schizophrenia, there's many, many schizophrenias, and a person that believes in gods and that are saved with blood and flying prophets and Prophet Moroni and different planets where the soul goes to, they are schizophrenics. It's the same thing. A crazy person thinks as a crazy person does and acts. Religion is organized as schizophrenia. Atheists meant wake up. You're product of a fuck. Okay? And you're born lacking belief on anything. No knowledge. If you believe in God in this 21st century, and you're educated, you have a problem with your brain. It's like believing that 2 + 2 is equal to any number that you believe it is, except 4. And they argue with you. Schizophrenics and religious people, they have this psychosis, and you cannot convince them at all of reality. They will never land. They will go all around in circles, and they will argue with you. And Dawkins, Harrison, and he is so blind that he argues with cryptopsychotic infected imbeciles like Francis Collins or Governor Jindal, this is a schizophrenic piece of shit of Louisiana, and a lot of other these crazy religious people. They're nuts, and you can argue with them, and you never ask them about their mental health. It's like arguing with Alex Jones. As I show, Piers Morgan, but Piers Morgan is a Catholic. In other words, has the same problem. So he doesn't see that religion is a mental illness. And this is the problem in the United States of America. Nobody sees it because it's full of nuts. 85% are infected. It's like a gigantic asylum. So they never touch, they differentiate. Believing in God is okay and is sanity. And the resurrected someone will save with blood. But if you believe in aliens and demonic possession, and in aliens that have implants in the brain and the abductions and all, then you're crazy. And you're schizophrenia, paranoia. But if you believe in God, you're sane. No, people, the same thing. 2 + 2 = 4. 1 + 3 is also equals to 4. Religious beliefs are a mental disorder when accepted as true, because all bizarre metamagical beliefs in all religions are no different than the bizarre metamagical beliefs or false beliefs in neurological disorders like schizophrenia, temporal lobe epilepsy, and all that. Let me bump you over your head or give you entheogens or the tuna flowers or operate your hippocampus, and then you will start believing in all these different things. You'll probably eat my shit thinking it's a gourmet food. The only thing I have to do is manipulate your brain. A lobotomy will cure you of God belief, of any religion. Let me give you a lobotomy. I mean, that's what the amazing Randy should have said, with $1 million challenge of his amazing, proof of a supernatural. No, it's very simple. Everything is in the brain. Give somebody $1 million challenge. Hey, if I operate your brain to any Christianity-infected imbecile or religious person, a person of faith and all that stuff, or people that believe in conspiracy theories, hey, I operate your brain, give you a lobotomy, I will cure you from all your psychosis. Hey, it's all in the brain. Keep in mind, if you are sane or mentally healthy, in other words, you can tell between fact and fiction in this 21st century, then you are an atheist. From a without, and theos is imaginary friend, God, and all believing crap like that. So it means lacking belief in bullshit and crap of imaginary friends, known as gods and demons and all that. That means that you are an atheist, that your brain is healthy. Enjoy the truth. Patch it your own.